Study the face of every bill under fluorescent light. The man on the front died, never lived a single night. In the hood we worship paper like it's holy scripture, but the frame is always burning while you painting the picture. My uncle pressed his thumb to every transaction he made. Said these dollars circle back, son, to the same ones that enslaved. I laughed at 12. At 32 I see the architecture. The Federal Reserve's a ghost conducting the orchestra. Every corner store, every lottery, every tax bracket. The wealth moves up like smoke, poverty's the racket. They print the money, set the rate for close on what you build. Hand you a flag at the funeral and call it pride, not guilt.
Presidents don't bleed. The poor man always does. They put the founders on the currency to remind you what it was.
Let me off the mind. Dead presidents don't bleed.
They just circulate the pain. Same hands that held the chains that sign your name.
Let me off the mind.
My mom's worked double shifts beneath the fluorescent hum. The register receipts piled up, the savings never come. She tithed on Sunday, paid the light bill Monday morning. The church got a new roof, our ceilings stay performing. I'm not bitter, I'm precise. There's a difference in the language. When you name the thing correctly, you can finally start to manage it. The block has its economy, informal but efficient. Every transaction carries weight, every act is a witness. The kid who slings on Tuesday got a business mind at 9. Give him capital in classrooms, watch that Saint can shine. But we built the maze and put them in it. Act surprised they navigate. The gifted ones who find the exit get the exceptional debate. I fold my bills facing superstition from my grandmother. She said keep Hamilton cover. Wisdom passed from somewhere under all the formal education. Intuition runs much deeper. The informal economy of survival made us keepers of a knowledge that no business school has ever tried to bottle. The resource management of nothing operating at full throttle with the deficit and still producing art and still producing children. Still building something from the rubble. That's the part that's worth revealing. 250 years of unpaid labor, compound interest. That debt would dwarf the GDP. You do the math and witness. These dead men couldn't see us, wouldn't see us if they could, but we carry all their faces through the blood of every hood.
Let me off the mob. Let me off the mod. Let me off the mod.
Dead presidents don't bleed.
We bleed enough for all of them. The currency of our survival is a different kind of anthem.
Let me off the mod.
Dead presidents don't bleed.
The poor man always does. They put the founders on the currency, remind you what it was.
Give up the dollar. Let me off the mod. Let me off the mod.
Under the lamppost where the concrete meets the curb, we gather like apostles armed with nothing but the word. No instruments, just voices bouncing off the brownstone walls. The cipher is the temple, every entrance is a call. I watch dudes 10 years older paint pictures in the air. The way they bent the syllables like they didn't even care. Like breathing was a burden, but the rhythm was the cure. The mic passed left to right like something ancient, something pure. I was 15 with a notebook and a hunger I can't name. Every MC that stepped inside the circle changed the game. Not for money, not for clout. Those concepts hadn't landed yet. Just the pure athletic joy of being lyrically correct.
Cipher Souls, we form the circle in the cold. Every bar exchange is worth more than gold. The mic goes round, you better come correct. Midnight Cipher, this is how we resurrect.
2 in the morning and the session still electric. Each MC a different frequency. The blend is something special. Tall dude from the Ave go jazz. Long winding sentences. Short kid from the PJs hits like surgical instruments. The girl from 3rd floor building 7. Nobody saw it coming. She stepped inside the circle, left every brother stunned and humbling. Her flow was architecture rooms inside a room. She referenced Harriet and Nefertiti, stars and ancient moons. The cipher has no gender, has no zip code or pedigree. Just metaphors and hunger and the need to speak your frequency. We weren't just entertainment, we were documenting time. Every session was a timestamp, every cipher was a shrine.
Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all.
Years later, I'll be standing in the studio with foam on the walls, thinking back to how we mastered the art in hallways and halls with no acoustics and no budget and no engineer to mix it. The raw transmission was the point and perfect was the physics. The block would change around, his faces disappear like smoke. Some to prison, some to progress, some to silence never broke. But somewhere in the ether, all those words are still reverberating. Every syllable of frequency that's infinitely waiting for a channel, for a vessel, for a night. Just like that night when nobody was performing, everyone was just a light. The cipher is the origin, the source code of the culture. Before the label, the contract, and the industry is vulture. If you wanna find the purest version, find a corner, find a circle, find a souls who stand and winner for the joy of something purple, something rare, something honest, something sweated out and real. Midnight ciphers never ended, that's the Cipher Souls appeal.
We form the circle in the code. Every bar exchange is worth more than gold. The mic goes round, you better come correct. Midnight cipher, this is how we resurrect. Cipher Soul, we form the circle in the code. Every bar exchange is worth more than gold. The mic goes round, you better come correct. Midnight cipher, this is how we resurrect.
Yes, 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 y'all. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, y'all.
Cipher Soul.
Yes, 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 y'all.
Cipher Soul.
Yes, yes, y'all. What the hell must that be? What the hell must that be? What the hell must that be? What the hell must that be?
My great-great-grandmother memorized the constellations, navigated darkness long before the emancipation. They took her name and gave her someone else's. Still she answered, kept the old tongue hidden in the lullaby she mastered. My grandfather built houses he could never be allowed to enter. Laid foundation stones in neighborhoods, they flee come winter. But his hands new angles, measurements and worth. Every nail a declaration, I belong upon this earth. I carry them like instruments tuned inside my chest cavity. The way I choose my words reflects the dignity and gravity. When I stand before a crowd and feel the current start to surge, that's not ego, that's 1,000 unnamed souls that urge. I hear them in the frequency, they never really left. The ancestors speak through me, each bar is their breath. I hear them in the frequency, behind every word. The ones who had no platform finally heard.
What the hell Mr. Freak? What the hell Mr. Freak? What the hell Mr. Freak?
The history they taught us was a highlight reel of pain. Slavery and struggle, rarely genius, rarely claim. To architecture, science, mathematics, navigation. The libraries of Alexandria are stolen constellation. They burned the evidence but couldn't burn what lived in bodies. The knowledge passed through bloodlines, call it gifts or call it hobbies. My cousin does equations like he's breathing, never study. My aunt rebuilds engines with her eyes half closed and muddy. My nephew draws from memory things he's never seen before. These are not coincidences, these are echoes from before. The drummers and the griots kept the frequency alive. Every beat I make tonight is how the ancestors survived. They never really left.
Break the hand most to break.
They never really left.
Break the hand.
I'm not religious in the tradition arrangement, but something moves between the notes that feels like ancient pavement, like cobblestones from kingdoms I can almost but not quite remember. A warmth inside the wind or something burning through December. My daughter asked me who I'm talking to when I'm producing. I said the ones who came before us. She said, are they still moving through the music? 7 years old and cracked the code completely. The frequency is circular, it travels and it reaches every person in our lineage who didn't get the platform. Every voice compressed to silence by the system and the bottom of the hierarchy. I am the accumulation of the will that with the hunger and the long imagination. So when I rhyme, I'm not performing, I'm transmitting something that was always there and just required the fitting of the vessel to the moment of the word to the intention. Ain't assessed the frequency beyond my comprehension, but I feel it in the sample, in the crack of the snare, and the bass note underneath it all. They're always right there.
Break it down, Mr. Freak. Break it down, Mr. Freak. They never really left. Break it down, Mr. Freak. Break it down, Mr. Freak. They never really left. They never really left. Break it down, Mr. Freak.
They never really left.
They never really left. Break it down, Mr. Mr. Freak. They never really left. They never really left. They never really left. You're now Mr. Freak.
Yeah.
Let me take you on a walk through the geography of real. Started the bodega where the owner knows you meal. The cat in the glass cage, the prayer oil on the shelf, the numbers on the back wall. Everyone betting on himself past the building when Marcus had his whole life changing minutes. The lobby still remembers, you can feel it if you're in it. Turn left on the block where 88 still smells like summer. The old heads on the bench is like they guarded something under. Cross the avenue where two worlds meet and barely nod. The gentrified side smells like candles. Smells like God. Real God. Incense and hair grease and the neighbor's Sunday cooking. The kind of rich the tourists never pause long enough for looking. The park where MCs cut their teeth on him is Saturday afternoons. The hairball wall with names tagged up like hieroglyphic ruins. My borough isn't picturesque, it's layered, it's conflicted. It raised me like a parent, sometimes loving, sometimes wicked. Sometimes it took from me before I knew I had a thing to give. Sometimes it showed me beauty in the only way it lives, which is raw and unrehearsed and sometimes brutal in the morning. When the sirens mute the day it's cold, I'm welcome morning. I know the building numbers like a cartographer knows an longitude. I know which block requires a different altitude of awareness, different posture, different pace. I know each corner has a name with a face beneath the face. Every corner holds a name. Every block, every corner holds a name. Every block, every corner holds a name. Every corner holds a name. 3 a.m. in the city shifts its register a half step down. The daytime personalities dissolve and real ones come around. The delivery guys on bicycles are dosing through the mist. The woman at the laundromat is somewhere on the list. Two dudes outside the Chinese spot debating something urgent. The breath makes clouds, the argument is passionate and searching. The cab driver from Senegal who knows Coltrane and Theosane. The Puerto Rican elder who can break down every borough lane. The West Indian bakery where morning stalks at 4. These remarkable daily miracles. The city is a body where the blood, the oxygen, the underneath of everything, the deepest origin. I map it while I can before the money makes it abstract. Before the glass tower swallows what the glass tower can't get back. These streets are autobiography, these corners are my scripture. Cipher Souls just map it. Every word a living picture. Every corner, every block, every corner holds a name. Every corner holds a name. Every corner holds a name. Beat. Every corner holds a name. Every corner holds a name. Every block, every corner holds a name. Let me take you on a walk. But let me take you on a walk.
They just changed the uniform. Same mission, same earth. You won't see it on the ticker, they report what they control. The battlefield is daily life. The target is your soul.
The Declaration said all men, but men a fraction. The Constitution built a nation on a legal subtraction. Property and persons in the same breath, same sentence. 3/5 of a human being, that's the founding eminence. 200 years and change, the fractions still apply. Different math, same answer.
So when you follow where the money flies, the school in my district gets the leftovers from the district with the pool. Same zip code, different value. Tell me which one is the tool. The textbooks that we studied were already 10 years old. The building leaked in winter. Half my class was sick with cold. But test scores were the measure, and the measure was designed by people in the building who had never seen our kind. My man caught a charge at 19 to block the courtroom pipeline. Did 7 years, came home, can't vote, can't find the higher sign. The record is a barcode that the scanner never misses, but they privatized the prisons. Somebody counting Christmases. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I read the legislation. I follow money backwards to its original foundation. The think tanks write the policy. The lobby writes the bill. The congressman signs something that he hasn't read until the news cycle moves on and the damage is already structural. The community absorbs it and adapts. Resilient, instructional. We are the most creative problem solvers on the planet. Build beauty out of bondage. Examine it, examine it, examine it, examine it, examine it, examine it.
Same mission, same earth.
So understand the war report. It isn't doom and gloom. It's knowing what you're fighting, so you organize the room. The general who maps the battlefield before he moves his pawns wins. That's the science. That's why knowledge lives at dawn. Every morning that you wake with clarity about the system is another day. The system lost its fundamental rhythm of confusion. That's the weapon. Keep the people uninformed. Keep the media, the circus, keep the outrage as the norm. So nothing gets examined past the surface of the scandal. Just enough light for you to see, but not enough to handle the whole picture. That's the architecture of the capture. I'm just trying to describe the frame. You do the chapter. Write your own conclusions. Question what they gave you. The textbook in the new cycle were not designed to save you. Cipher Souls are students of the long historical pattern in a world designed for noise. The signal is what matters.
Mission, same earth. Same mission, same earth. Same mission, same earth. Same mission, same earth.
Been going on since before your grandfather's birth. They just changed the uniform.
Same mission, same earth.
Graduated from the sidewalk with a PhD in pattern. Learned probability from dice before the numbers scatter. Game theory from the dominoes of recreation center. Supply and demand from watching whose soul become winner. Rhetoric from the preacher and the barbershop debater. Astronomy from the elder who said read the skies greater than the compass that they'll sell you. Stars don't need batteries. I learned the Socratic method from the Blockdale and harasser. Every argument a lecture, every outcome a lesson, every loss a pop quiz on the subject of discretion. The former system didn't fail me. I was outside its mandate. The A student in my class couldn't navigate the landscape. Night school, they never gave us seats, so we built our own. Night school, the library's the cipher and the cornerstone. Night school, the lessons cost you more than any tuition. Night school, self-made education is the mission. Malcolm found the library inside a prison cell and built the mind so sharp it rang the freedom bell. Frederick taught himself to read. The master called it danger when the slave decodes the language. He's no longer a stranger to the laws and to the loopholes and the latitude within him. That's why they criminalized the reading. They could see what lived in him. I'm not comparing my comfort to the weight those brothers carry, but the principle is ancient and the principle is varied. Knowledge is the thing they regulate in every generation. First the laws, then the access, then the standardized examination that decides who's no one counts and who's gets called a deficit. I took my education like a heist, each book a benefit. Night school, they never gave us seats, so we built our own. Night school, the library is the cipher and the cornerstone. Night school, the lessons cost you more than any tuition. Night school, self-made education is the mission. Night school, night school, night school. Night school, night school, night school, night school, night school, night school. Van and Frey in the morning, Ellison at noon. Sun Tzu by the lamppost underneath the crescent moon. The night school has no tuition, but the cover charges hunger. The kind that keeps you reading while the neighborhood gets younger. I watch the kids now with the phone and wonder what they're building, whether the algorithm feeds them weapons or just filling time with noise. I don't condemn them, I remember too being 15 with no context for the things I had to move through. The formal system gives you framework, that part I won't dismiss, but frameworks without purpose is a factory, and this is what they built for us. The credential with no power, the degree with all the debt, and then the 40-hour tower of a life that pays the interest. Never touches the principle of actual freedom. That's the lesson, most subliminal. The night school teaches you to ask the question they suppress. Who benefits from what they're teaching and from what they leave us less? Night school. They never gave us seats, so we built our own. Night school. The library is the cipher and the cornerstone. Night school. The lessons cost you more than any tuition. Night school. Self-made education is the mission. Night school. Night school. Night school. Night school.
The lean at 13, weight on one leg, chin parallel. The walk that says don't try it while the inside rings like a warning bell. The voice through registers lower than my natural speaking tone. The laugh that doesn't reach the eyes. The look that says I'm grown. We learned his choreography from watching Who Survives. Which softness got you tested and which honor kept you prized. My homeboy cried at the movie, we never spoke of it. His whole persona built around the myth that he could swallow it. Another dude I knew would feed the stray cats every evening. 90 pounds of muscle, gentlest hands you'd ever be seeing. But in the street he wore a different character completely. The distance between public self and private self was treaty. We wear the cool like armor. It gets heavy in the rain. Everybody on the block performing. Hiding the same pain. I just wanna be a person, not a symbol or a threat. The weight of cool will crush you, and it hasn't broken yet. You learn the code switch not for white rooms, but for your own block. The vulnerable version stayed inside behind the deadbolt lock, and somewhere in the compression something beautiful got buried. The full person got edited, the raw version got carried nowhere. It just waited in the body like a debt. Came out sideways sometimes, anger, silence, or regret. The ones who never learned to let it out became the lesson. The cautionary chapter in the book, nobody's pressing. I watched the young boys on the block perform the same initiation into hardness, that emotional castration of a generation that came soft and curious and open, and learn that open doors invite the things that leave you broken.
Just wanna be a person. Just wanna be a person. Just wanna be a person.
My daughter asked me why I never cried funerals. I didn't have an answer that was honest or refutable. The training runs so deep, the circuitry reroutes the signal. The brief comes out of silence or something close to cynical. And I wanna tell the young boys something. The language hasn't formed yet. The vocabulary of softness and survival, we're still searching for it. In the old songs though, in the Marvin and the Curtis, there's a man who felt things fully and still stood there at the surface. Not broken by the feeling, but expanded by the pressure. The way to cool was something that the melody could measure. I learned to cry through bass lines, through the samples that we flip. That's the Cipher Souls tradition, truth released through the grip of the beat. The drum is the permission that the culture never gave us to be whole, to be human, not performing, to behave as everything we actually are beneath the choreography. The way to cool is real, but it was never meant to bury me. We wear the cool like armor. It gets heavy in the rain. Everybody on the block performing, hiding the same pain.
Just wanna be a person.
I'm acid.
Clarence on the stoop has been there since the building opened. Watch the neighborhood change faces like the decades kept on joking. He remembers when the bakery was a number spot, then a church, then a check cashing place, then a condo, American murk. He doesn't need a history book. The history is structural. The building codes, the ownership, the pattern isn't cultural. Coincidence is policy with a long game patience. He'll tell you about the jazz club that the city rezoned hasty, about the block association that got infiltrated. Watched about his friend who organized and then got quietly stopped. He doesn't use conspiracy, he uses dates and documents. He pulled the D, researched himself, that's where the argument went. The Griot on the corner got no podium or stage, just truth inside his stomach, carry forward through the age. If you listen past the traffic, you can hear the whole account. Every name, every story, every detail that counts. In West Africa, the Griot was the village's hard drive, the living archive, walking, keeping that one alive. In memory and story, every birth, dispute and treaty, every drought and celebration, nothing casual or breezy. We brought that function with us through the passages, survived in the preacher and the poet and the elder still alive. In the barbershop philosopher, the mother's dinner table sermon, the uncle with the long story that always has a learning. We dismiss them as old-fashioned in the age of documentation, but the algorithm doesn't capture soul or intonation, doesn't know to pause before the point, to look before the lesson, the way Clarence drops his voice before the crucial question. Griot now, a younger one in training, lose a different instruments but carrying the same thing. The names, the dates, the places and the people in the story. For the capital erases them and calls it morning glory. For the boutique in the wine bar and the artist in the corner replaces what was living with a lifestyle on the corner. I sit beside Clarence Saturdays, I bring a notebook and a tea, because the history he carries is the history they hid from me, and when he's gone, that's it. The oral record doesn't transfer to the search engine. The living archive has no server, which means I'm the last listener and the first recorders. The Griot's job is urgent, there's a generational border coming fast. The youngest have the phone but not the story. The elders have the story but won't be here for the glory of the future that they seeded. That's the gap I'm standing in. Cipher Souls preserve the record, that's how we begin. The Griot on the corner got no podium or stage, just truth inside his stomach, carry forward through the age.
And I'm tracing water stains on the plaster, running yesterday's conversation slightly faster, looking for the better answer that I didn't have on time. The one that would've landed would've perfectly aligned. My pillow seemed more strategy than any war room table. I replayed every pivot point since I was in the cradle. Almost said it, almost did this, almost took the exit. The hinge moments of a life to keep the mind from resting. My phone screen's dark, but I can feel the pull of it from the charger. The dopamine casino waiting patient like a martyr. I don't reach for it, I let the dark room do its work. The silence has a texture and the texture has a church, and it's somewhere. My grandmother's particular breathing, my father's voice in the year before the distance started seething. The smell of something cooking, I couldn't name it 7. The unremarkable ordinary that becomes your heaven. Yeah. I think about the homies who aren't here to have these nights. The ones who call at 3 a.m. to talk about their fights. The children that regress, their grand ambitions barely started. The absence of the living is what hits, not just the departed. My man is serving time, he got a phone on Tuesday evening. 7 minutes through the county system, signal barely breathing. But in those 7 minutes, we compress a world of everything. The laughter hasn't changed since 94, still echoing. I think about what parallel looks like, the diversion. Where the block didn't branch us off into the submersion. Where both of us got the same thing that we both deserve. Where the sentence didn't happen and the future wasn't curved.
I rise at 4 with something settled that I couldn't name. The way the dark works through the problem, that's the midnight game. The conscious mind can only hold so much before it fractures. The sleeping mind assembles what the waking mind can't capture. And the insomniacs in between, that's a sacred middle passage. Where the grief and the ambition and the love become a message. I've made decisions at 4 a.m. to change the year completely. Because the quiet stripped the noise and I could finally see me. Not performing, not protecting, not constructing the persona. Just a person in a dark room somewhere between tomorrow and the yesterday that made him. Stripped of all the branding, just the raw material of a life still understanding what it's for. I don't have answers, I have better questions now. The 3 a.m. curriculum taught me something about how the only time you really know yourself is in the silence. Cipher Souls, insomniac, the frequency's defying. And the ceiling's got my answer. The quiet is the loudest. When the day loses its dancers.
Check it out. It's you know about. The building isn't beautiful by any magazine standard. The lobby smells like history and something slightly candid. The elevator's been broke since the Koch administration, but Mrs. Williams on the 4th floor runs it like a station. Knows every face and package, every visitor and stranger. Her eyes are the surveillance system cutting through the danger. The architecture here isn't the brick or the mortar. It's the informal systems holding everything in order. The way the super hides the heat money and keeps the pipes from freezing. The block captain's unelected, phone tree built for any reason. The grandmother network passing children through the summer. The teenager who walks the elders home before December.
They see the broken window,
We see the whole cathedral.
they see the empty lot.
We see the people.
The architecture of the hood ain't made of stone, it's made of who stayed standing.
Who stayed home?
Brick by human brick.
The real foundation.
Cipher Souls built this.
Call it civilization.
These aren't amenities, the civil engineering built from scratch because the city never showed for the clearing of the snow, the trash, the broken, the forgotten, and the fallen. So the people built the function and they answered their own calling. I've been to neighborhoods that gleam with recent capital. The farmers markets and the murals and the tactical replacement of the people who created all the culture with the architects who study it from outside like a vulture. There's a before the renovation, there's a living that was happened at the loft conversion. Swallowed beautiful and reckoning. Erased the people, kept the vibe, rebranded and relaunched it. The food, the music, the aesthetic, clean and co-signed it. Clean and co-signed it. Clean and co-signed it. I'm not a purist, neighborhoods must breathe and change a cycle. But there's a difference between growing and a corporate recital. The architecture of the hood is functional and sacred. It wasn't built to photograph, it was built to keep us grounded on the earth. In the body, in the day-to-day necessity of being human in the city with selective memory that remembers what it wants and prices out the evidence that might complicate the narrative of urban precedents. I map it while I can, I write it into every cipher. The buildings may be condos by the time I show my daughter what this block once meant. So every verse is present
preservation, every bar an architectural documentation of a people and a system and a love that built to something out of nothing, out of policy designed to give them nothing. And that is not a small thing, that is the whole cathedral. Cipher Souls built this, and the foundation is the people. They see the broken window,
we see the whole cathedral.
we see the empty lot,
we see the people.
The architecture of the hood ain't made of stone, it's made of who stays standing,
who stayed home,
brick by human brick,
the real foundation.
Cipher Souls built this,
call it civilization.
Yeah. They see the broken window,
we see the whole cathedral.
they see the empty lot,
we see the people.
It and co-signed it. It and co-signed it. It and co-signed it.
Lions in winter still got the roar. Don't confuse the quiet for not knowing what it's for. The scars are the diploma, the years are the degree. Lions in winter, pour one for the legacy.
My uncle doesn't talk much about the things he's seen, but when he does, the room sits down and everything goes clean. He doesn't reach for the dramatic or amplify the weight. The things he carries make the ordinary consecrate. He did a bid in the 80s, came home to a different nation, found the block had moved on without a formal explanation. His people scattered, some deceased, some relocated. Some had built a life and were politely complicated. He didn't ask for sympathy, just took the tools he carried and built a smaller version of the life he planned to marry. A shop in the neighborhood, he fixes what the young folks throw away. I rent chartered small appliances he opens every day. I think about the players from the era that preceded, the architects of culture who the mainstream never needed to acknowledge. They just borrowed and moved on without the credit. The DJ in the park in 73, let's not forget it wasn't just a party, was a blueprint for a civilization. Every element invented in the heat of pure creation. The men and women who created without label or advance, who built the whole foundation while the industry watched the dance from a distance, waiting to extract the markable portion, while the originators got the fraction or distortion of the recognition that was owed from the very beginning. These are lions in the winter, keep the legacy spinning.
Lions in winter, don't care what I mean. Lions in winter, don't care what I mean.
He doesn't preach to me, he shows me through the posture. The dignity isn't circumstantial, it's what you build after. The record, just a decision made at the moment no one's watching. When the opportunity for bitterness is perfectly unlocking, and you choose to work instead. The daily patient work of showing up and building something through the pain and murk. Every elder on the block, every veteran in the cipher, every woman who held households when the whole world tried to swipe her, of the children of the credit of the labor and the story. They are lions in the winter, never took away the glory. It just changed the context, changed the venue, changed the format, but the frequency of excellence, you cannot make it dormant. Pour the libation, say the name, learn the full story. Don't let the culture eat its history and call it inventory. Cipher Souls, salute the ones who came before and stayed. Lions in the winter, the foundation that you laid.
Play with those in
Lions in winter, you don't care what I need.
Play with those in
Lions in winter, you don't care what I need. Lions in winter, still got the roar. Pour one for the legacy, pour one for the war. Pour one for the war.
the city of the drowning. But solitary vision is a myth that keeps compounding. The man who built his empire on the backs of the forgotten will wake one day surrounded by the fruit of something rotten. I watched the most individualistic rise and fall precisely because the thing they built them wasn't built correctly, wisely. The circular economy of people lifting people is the only structure standing. Everything else is feeble with no foundation. Pretty from below but hollow. When the wind comes through, you'll see exactly what they follow. My block survived because the neighbors knew each other's business in the good way, not the gossip but the witness. The kind that means someone notices you're absent, that someone checks the door when the word is going past. The cipher is circular. What you give comes back. The cipher is circular. Watch each other's back. Watch your back. We rise together. Cipher Souls forever. Everybody fed somebody in the winter. Everybody watched somebody else's children. That's not nostalgia. That's an economic and survival system. Every individualist mythology has tried to make a schism between us, and the logic says you're stronger standing singular. But every natural system says community's the pinnacle, the wolf pack, the mycorrhizal forest root connection. The way the murmuration of the starly's mind's direction. Without a leader, by the principle of mutual attention to the neighbor. That's not theory, that's the oldest invention of the social animal, which is what we fundamentally are. Before the market said your value is how far above the others you can rise, the ancient answer was your value is how well you make the whole one dance more. Cipher is circular. What you give comes back. The cipher is circular. Watch each other's back. Watch it back. We rise together. Cipher Souls forever. The cipher is the metaphor for everything I'm building. Circular, inclusive, the young learning from the elders energized by what the young bring to the circle. The exchange between the generations, nothing's ever sterile or stagnant. It keeps moving, it keeps feeding and renewing. No one hoarding all the heat while somebody else is stewing in the cold. That's the cipher law. You bring what you got, even if it's just the willingness to hold the spot, while someone else is finding their voice that matters. Because the circle only works if nobody scatters. When it gets uncomfortable, when the verse gets hard to finish, when the truth costs something, that's precisely when you're in it most. When the cost is real, the cipher gets its meaning. Not the easy bars of sunshine, but the ones that need the cleaning of the wound before it heals. Cipher souls go deep. The circular is sacred. What we sow is what we reap. The cipher is circular. What you give comes back. The cipher is circular. Watch each other's back. Watch it back. We rise together. Cipher Souls forever. The cipher. We rise together. Cipher Souls forever. The cipher. You cannot be an island. 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 You cannot be an island in the city of the drowning. You cannot be an island in the city of the drowning. You cannot be an island in the city of the drowning. You cannot be an island in the city of the drowning. You cannot be an island in the city of the drowning. You cannot be an island in the city of the drowning. You cannot be an island in the city of the drowning. You cannot be an island. You cannot be an island. Yo, you cannot be an island in the city of the drowning. You cannot be an island. You cannot be an island in the city of the drowning. Yo, you cannot be an island. Yo, you cannot be an island. You cannot be an island. Yeah, you cannot be an island in the city of the drowning. You cannot be an yeah. You cannot be an island in the city of the drowning. You cannot be an island in the city. Yeah, you cannot be an island.
Like that. Like that. Like that. 1973, the Bronx in flames. The city tried to let it die. The insurance money over people, let the buildings testify. But in the rubble and the wreckage, something beautiful was cooking. Something ancient and resilient if you know it when you look it. The break between the songs became the whole canvas. The turntable became the instrument to redress and examine us. Not since the drum's invention had a technology been so immediate between the human body and the beat, so guaranteed and complete. Hip-hop isn't genre, it's a full civilization. Documentation, philosophy, fashion, recreation, economics, spiritual practice, political action. The full elements, sex elements. Not a marketing transaction. The frequency never died. It just went underground. Every record that they bury is still making sound. The frequency never died. It lives in every bar. Cipher Souls eternal. You know exactly what we are. When they backed us, didn't sew the back. They kept the surface level. Gave the chains and the cars back, but removed the rebel. Removed the cipher circle. The graffiti is declaration. The b-boy is the language of a whole dispossessed nation. But you cannot kill the frequency. It finds another vessel. It went from the bronze block, brought it to the basement, to the festival, to the corner cipher, to the bedroom producer sample loop, to the overseas disciple who took it and turned the volume up. Right now, somewhere a kid is in the bedroom with 2 turntables and speakers that distort because the budget doesn't enable the professional. But the frequency doesn't need the studio. It needs a human vessel and a purpose and a will to go. The golden era wasn't gold because of budget or equipment. Golden era wasn't gold. The golden era wasn't gold because of budget or equipment. The golden era wasn't gold because of budget or equipment. It was gold because the people in it had a full commitment to the word, to the beat, to the culture and the cipher, to the truth inside a syllable, to being something brighter than what the world assigned to them. That frequency is us. Every sample flipped is resurrection. Every bar is trust. Between the artist and the crate, between the now and then, between the dad who made the music and the ones who made it spin again into something new. That's the alchemy, that's African, that transformation practice. Taking ash and building back again. The stack session and the blue note and the Motown ballroom. The church choir on a Sunday and the juke joint after school. All of it compressed into the 4 bars that we loop. And under that the voice, the Cipher Soul who drops the truth. We are the frequency, we always were. Remember that? Cipher Souls eternal. There's no going back. The frequency never died. It just went underground. The frequency never died. It just went underground. Every record that they buried is still making sound. Like that's like dope.
I have a complicated love for where I'm from. The kind
you don't explain to people who just come to visit, who eat the food and take the photo, but never felt the weight of what it costs to grow through the heat in July, when the city smells like consequence, the winter when the cold is a particular imminence, the specific shade of orange that the street lights cast at night that I can reproduce from memory with perfect sight. You're in my body, in the way I hold my shoulders in the crowd, in the conversational pace, the way I say a thing out loud, the specific taste of bodega coffee at 6 a.m., the particular cruise of the platform in the train.
You raise me hard, you raise me real. Mother City,
I know exactly how you feel.
you gave me everything and took some back. Laid the love right next to all the lack. Still I walk your cracks and call it home. Cipher Souls don't leave, we carry with what.
But Mother City, you've been selling what you built on our backs. You've been converting all the memory into square footage stacks. The people who created what the tourists come to sample have been moved like furniture to make the living ample. For those who bought the culture without buying the condition that produced it, who want the music without the musicians, I'm not going anywhere. My roots are in the concrete, but I understand the ones who left because the loss is complete. When the home you love becomes a set piece for another story. When the neighborhood you bled for gets rebranded as glory that erases your specific gravity, your actual face, and replaces you with someone else's curated taste. Mother City, I love you and I'm furious simultaneously. The way you love a parent who was brilliant and was heavy, who gave you everything imperfect, the gifts and all the damage, the beauty and the trauma in the same unwrapped package. I know your violence, I know the names you took, I know the apartments that got emptied and the people that it shook. I know the precinct in the courtroom and the schoolroom in the corner. I know the joy that lived inside of all of it. The mourner and the dancer are the same person in the same body, moving through your streets holding both. That's everybody who grew up in a place that gave and took in equal measure. The complicated love is not a problem, it's the treasure. The simple love is easy and requires no examination. The complicated love's the one that builds the real foundation of a person who can hold the full truth without collapsing. Mother City, I'm still here, still mapping, still asking.
You raise me hard, you raise me real. Mother City, Cipher Souls can't feel. Still I walk your cracks and call it home. Mother City, Cipher Souls can feel. Still I walk your cracks and call it home.
Perform for the room, I perform for the frequency. The part of you that recognizes truth immediately. Before the brain to filter it and file it and arrange it. The gut level with sex and you feel it. Before you name it, I've been in ciphers where the temperature changed mid-session. When somebody's in something so precise, it's out the question and everyone round the circle. Even the ones who came to battle left their arm at the door and listened to the rattle. But something true against the ribcage, that's the moment I live for. Not the applause, the silence after the bar lands, the tremor. When the room absorbs the word before the echo, that spit a second where the cipher holds its breath. I know that. Like I know my mother's place inside a crowded room. Like I know the smell of rain before it breaks at noon. The Cipher Soul isn't built, it's recognized. You don't decide to have it, one day you just realize. Cipher Souls don't fade, we just go deeper. Life for souls, the ones who feel the frequency are keepers. Cipher Souls, Cipher Souls, we carry what we're made of. The block, the beat, the word, all of the above. Cipher Souls, you know us when you see us. The real ones always find each other. Believe us. The fake ones burn bright fast and leave no residue. The real ones burn slow. You feel them long after they move through a room of conversation. A record that you stumble on at 2 a.m. and wonder where this has been all along. That's not accident. It's frequency matching frequency. The right soul finds the right sound with an almost eerie precision, like the crate was waiting for your specific fingers, like the sample was recorded for the moment that it lingers underneath the bar. You right on a Tuesday in October when the year is getting heavy and the feeling is close to over, but the beat won't let you quit. The swing of the MPC is a conversation and it's asking something back from me, so
I answer with the only thing I have, the honest word, the one that costs something, the one that might sound absurd. That anyone who hasn't felt the cipher put them in word. The souls who know, the rest just how they found it. Any era or geography. We are the people who would rather die than speak it falsely, who rather leave the cipher than pretend the bar was real, who measure every word against the standing of what we feel in the body, in the place beneath the strategy and posture where the truth lives unedited. That's the daily roster check. Am I performing or am I transmitting? Am I chasing or am I where I'm supposed to be sitting? The Cipher Soul is not the loudest in the building, is not the most prolific or the most commercially willing, is the most present, most attuned, most rooted in the purpose of the word is something sacred and not merely at the surface. I know my people by the way they listen, not just talk, by the way they carry silence, by the texture of their walk, through the noise unbothered, frequency intact. Cipher Souls, we don't arrive, we just come back. Cipher Souls don't fade, we just go deeper. Cipher Souls, the ones who feel the frequency of keepers. Cipher Souls will carry what we're made of. The block, the beat, the word, all of the above. Soul.